Today we're going to be talking about various percent problems, such as discount, tax, tip, markup, those kind of things. We're going to start with discount. And discount is a decrease in the price of an item. It's when a store says you can pay less money for something. So you're going to start by finding the amount of the discount, and then you're going to subtract from the original price of the item. For example, a store is selling jeans at 30% off the original price. You want to purchase a pair of jeans that was originally $28. What is the sale price of the jeans? So we're going to start by setting up a proportion, and we know it's part over whole equals percent over 100. Now for me, it's very important that we label whatever percent the percent is. We want to make sure we label this, so it's percent off. And if percent off is on the top, then the part is the amount off. 100 is going to be the total or the original price. So this one is also the original. So I know that it is 30% off. So that one goes in the percent spot. And it says originally $28. So that is not the amount off. It is the original amount. So 28 goes in this spot. Now I have several different methods that I could use. I see automatically that my percent is 30%, so I can divide both sides by 10 and get 3/10. Now I'm going to try to figure out what my factor of change is here. So I have to divide 28 divided by 10. And when I divide, I get 2. I have to add a decimal and a 0. 10 goes into 88 times. So my factor of change is 2 and 8/10. So 10 times 2 and 8/10 equals 28. So 3 times 2 and 8/10 is going to give me my part. And I get 8 and 4/10. Okay, so 8 and 4/10 is the amount off. How much money is that off? 8 and 4/10 should be $8.40 off. So I know that if it is $8.40 off, that is my discount. So what is the sale price means then after I found the amount of discount, I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to start with my original $28, and I'm going to subtract $8.40. Well, right away, if I estimate, I know that it's going to be 28 minus 8 is $20, so it's going to be 40 cents less than $20. So that's $19.60. So finding the markup is the increase from the wholesale price. So basically a store will purchase something at a lower price, and then in order to make money, they're going to mark up the cost. So they're going to add money to the wholesale price to be able to get what we call the retail price. To find the amount of markup, we're going to continue and use the percent proportion, which is part over whole equals percent over 100. And after we do that, we're going to add that to the sale price, to the wholesale price. So a jewelry store purchases a watch for $80 at the wholesale price. The store marks up the watch 150%. So what is the retail price of the watch? So I know it's 150% out of 100, and that's the markup. So whatever we get over here is also going to be the markup. Okay, so they purchase, the original price is $80. So I am going to have to solve this. I could use several methods. Once again, here I see that I can simplify. So if I divide both of these by 10, I get 15 over 10. And I can see my factor of change from 10 to 80 is times 8. So I'm going to do 15 times 8, and I'm going to get my markup. So that is $120. So it's marked up $120. So to find the new cost, because markup is adding to the cost, I'm going to take the markup, which is $120, and add the $80 to it. And now I know that my new cost is $200. So the store purchased the watch for $80, but is selling it for $200. Okay, here's a couple problems for you to try on your own. Don't forget, it's part over whole equals percent over 100. So you're going to try these two, and they should be in your whisk. So we have problem number 1 and problem number 2. You can pause if you need to. Okay, finding the tax. The tax is an additional charge that is added to your purchase that goes to the government. Tax can also be, there's all kinds of tax. So it could be income tax, where they take a percent of your income. But we're going to be talking about sales tax today. So we're going to, once again, tax is added to your purchase. So we're going to find the amount of tax and add it to the original price. You want to purchase a pair of shoes that cost $105. The rate in your city is 6 5/10%. What is the total cost of the shoes including tax? So I know that we're going to be looking at the percent of tax over 100. And the percent of tax is 6 5/10%. You want to purchase a pair of shoes that cost $105, so that is my total. Okay, now I see that there's a decimal here, and whenever there's decimals, it's going to be much harder to find a factor of change. So when there's decimals, I usually do the cross multiply and divide. So 105 times 6 5/10 is going to be my first step. And I get 682 5/10. But then after I've multiplied these, I have to divide by whatever's outside the box. And if I remember my rules of 10, I can just move my decimal over 2 places because the 100 has 1, 2 zeros. So I have 6 825 thousandths is the tax. But guys, this is money, and I can't have money that looks like this. So I'm going to cut the money off at 2 decimal places because that is money. And this 5 right here is going to tell me that I add 1 penny here. So instead of $6.82, the tax equals $6.83. But the question says, what is the total cost of the shoes including tax? So I have to then add the tax back to the 105. So $105 plus $6.83 gives me $111.83. Finding the tip. A tip is an additional amount paid for services rendered. For example, when you are driven to the airport by a taxi, you're going to give a tip to the driver. When you go to a restaurant, you're going to tip the waitress or waiter because we want to give them some money for the services that they rendered. Now, since the tip is added, we're going to find the tip and then we add it to the original price. So your family went to IHOP and ordered meals totaling $36.78, and you're going to leave a 20% tip. So we want to know the cost of the meal including tip. Now I know it's a 20% tip, and that's out of 100%. And the meal totals $36.78, so that's the whole. Once again, I have complicated numbers, so I would rather multiply here and then divide by 100 because that will be the fastest method because we can't find factor of change by doing or when there's decimals, not as easily anyway. So 36 7/800 divided by times 20. So 0, and I get 735 60/100. Now when I divide by 10, once again, we're going to move it 2 places to the left, and I get 7 356 thousandths. But once again, I have this extra decimal on the end. So it should be approximately $7.35, but the 6 tells me to add 1 penny. So my tip equals $7.36. And it says, what is the total cost of the meal including tip? So I'm going to have to add my $36.78 with my tip. And I get $44.14. Okay, I have a problem for you to try on your own. So go ahead and work this one out. But this one, instead of giving you two problems, I asked you to find the sales tax and the tip. Because there's sales tax and tip, remember we're going to do the total, we're going to do two proportions. One of them is going to be with the percent tax. One of them is going to be with the percent tip. Okay, and then when we're done, we're going to take the total plus the tax plus the tip. All right, bring any questions that you have back to class. We'll be happy to answer them.